Hello. This week we had a case study or a couple of case studies, and the case study that I decided to choose out of Kowalski's case studies on educational administration was the case study in chapter 7 or case 7 that talked about old school culture and a new principle. Some of the readings this week that I will be referring to is this one right here by Dr. Douglas May, The Steps of the Ethical Decision Making Process, as well as our readings from Shapiro and Stepclitch in Ethical Leadership and Decision Making in Education. I will also be referencing one of our readings from last week that talked about the multiple ethical paradigms. So, in this particular case study, um, school culture and new principle, I wanted to talk about this particular one because I had similar experiences as a school administrator. And some of the players in this particular case are the Principal John Lattimore, who is experienced. He is well liked in the district because of his experience and his length of time that he has spent in the district, and he has a history of success. Other players in this case are the superintendent, Dr. Gray, and the assistant superintendent, Dr. Danton. They are surprised at Principal Lattimore's offer to go to Holmes Elementary because Holmes Elementary is a challenging school, and they have not experienced some of the successes that some of the other elementary schools in the district have, and they accept Principal Lattimore's offer to go to Holmes because of the lack of interest in other administrators going to Holmes to turn the school around. So, some of the other players are the school community, which would consist of the teachers and the students, and the community within itself that Holmes is located in, which would include the parents. The two communities, the school community and the actual community that houses Holmes, I feel like there's not a full representation of those communities. I feel like it is a few speaking for all, and those may be the few that are connected throughout the district or connected to other people that are in position to help push their agenda versus those that are not connected, those that do not have the same type of connection as some of the louder speakers are. Some of the outliers, but also are connected to this case, are the Board of Education, the Union for Teachers, and the Union for Principals. Even though those players do not actually come into play fully during this case, they are definitely outliers as they could become a huge part of the decision-making process in this case. So onto the perspectives of Principal Lattimore. He feels that he is right in his decision making and that he is not going to take down because he believes in what he is doing and he has made a decision. I think his decision is guided based on the ethics of care, but all of the stakeholders involved are in his decision making process and him being guided by the ethics of care referenced in our reading last week. I feel that he is making a decision based on his heart, but he has also used research and actually not just research that's out there, but research in the district that shows that Holmes is one of the lowest schools performing in the district, or has one of the highest retention rates and one of the highest suspension rates. And I think he is going or using that research data to support his ethics of care. However, the stakeholders that are involved in his decision making were not all forthright with him on how they felt about his potential decision. The superintendents They seem to have gathered the facts of the case, but they seem to be clouded by political pressures, even though they make it a point in, I guess, giving the data about retentions and suspensions across the district. But I don't think, or they don't give the impression that they want the political fight or the potential of what the few could cause to happen in the district. And I think that for the totality of the situation, they are not willing to put up a fight like that for just one school when it could be something that could potentially harm everyone. You know, the teacher's perspective in this case, they feel that they may lose their power and their ability to run the school. They also fear that they have not become a part of the decision making process. They want some student accountability here. They are not sure that and I'm not sure that they totally understand the entire premise of what Principal Lattimore is really trying to do. Some of the steps that I think Principal Lattimore could do or use in maybe a possible solution here is educating the staff on inequities versus inequalities, which is discussed in our readings this week. In chapter 8 about equality versus equity. I think that it's important that the teachers do understand the difference between the two, that just because a student fails, if there are inequities across the board, that there's not being an equal or an equitable decision, a decision being made out of equality. And so educating the staff in that respect. Also, I'm showing or displaying his research behind students that experience poverty, and also research that shows the dropout rate of retained students and the impact overall that it has on the community, not just where these teachers teach or where they work, but where they live, how that has an overall impact. I think that he should also provide to ground a meeting to ground or compromise um, by mandating. I'm sorry. He should also provide a meeting ground or compromise by mandating that these students go to summer school to improve their academic performance, their comprehension of the content. I think that would be some sort of way to kind of meet the teachers halfway if their concern is that they're not academically ready. The principal should provide a solution for that to make it, to seem as if he is concerned about the academic gap and not just about social promotion. I think that he should also have an alternative plan to reduce retention and suspension in the event that this plan does not work, it does not go through. He needs to have some sort of alternative plan, and maybe some scaffolding would help. He should hold a meeting with the parents and the teachers so that everyone understands, why he's making this decision, why he's going this route, and possibly map out his plan so that it's not, all in at once, but, a scaffolding process. I think that the superintendents probably could ask the Board of Education to give the building level principal some time to work out the situation with his teachers and his school community first before just going straight in. And teachers could come up with a plan as well, just like the principal. They could present their plan to reduce suspensions and retentions in order to meet the principal and the district halfway. I experienced something similar to this in the district that I was an administrator in, and I can honestly say that in doing these things, gathering the facts, understanding the culture of where you are is truly important. When I decided to implement something very similar because suspensions were high, retentions were high, I started at the kindergarten level, understanding that the students that were already had matriculated in the school had already had so many fallbacks or slowbacks. That's how I started it, and I explained that to the teachers at the lower levels. And then I moved to first grade and second grade and so forth. And then one of my I guess you could say, compromises with my teachers was that when we discussed this as a team, I told them that if students were retained, they would go to one of your colleagues the following year. And so that kind of helped them buy into the idea of student retention. Thank you.